Gabby.
John.
Hey.
Hi.
How are ya?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, your message implied otherwise. I got the, oh my gosh, you needed to see me today.
Mm-hmm.
So I made it happen. Here you are. Help me understand, friend. What's going on?
I have just been riddled with anxiety all day, but like not so much mentally. Like I'm not panicked in the sense of like everything's gonna go wrong or like I can't grasp thoughts properly. You know, anxiety brain when it you're kind of
anxiety
over the edge.
brain.
I don't have the anxiety brain. Mine's the physical feelings. I'm having tingling fingers. My chest feels really tight. Lump in my throat. I feel like I'm gonna cry every minute of the day.
Well, first,
Mm-hmm.
gonna stop you right there. You know me. I love to give out positive affirmation. Amazing that you so readily, so easily identified it, and that you called me as part of your safety plan and said you needed to talk. Way to go.
Thank you.
Huge improvement.
Ooh, one
All
step
right.
at a time, right?
All right. So you're having physical anxiety.
Yeah.
And what's your physical anxiety telling you? Like, how's it, where's it coming from?
I don't know. I feel like I've had a lot of stuff happen in the last, like, week. It feels like the last few weeks, but, you know, centralized the last week.
Okay, so let's start from the last time you saw me, last week. You left my office.
Mm-hmm.
Take a minute, go back inside, sort of walk yourself slowly through your week,
Mm-hmm.
and tell me just about when you started to feel anxiety, when it started to set in. Because with you, you've always said it's never just there, it just sort of slowly makes its entrance.
Yeah, so, Friday, so as you know, we missed our appointment Thursday.
Yeah, we did.
And because I thought it was on Friday, when I showed up at your office was locked. That kind of definitely triggered me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't
But you
your
saw me
fault
that-
because I missed the visit. I saw you early in the week, but I missed it, so that wasn't your fault. Cried in my car, but then I pulled it together. And then over the weekend, Tyler and I had the 12-month talk about children.
About children.
Yep.
Stop.
Okay.
Couple of deep breaths into the nose, out of the mouth, the nose, out of the mouth. Let's take our imaginary anchor out of our pocket. We're going to put it right here because we're going to sit in this moment and we're going to explore a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Reminder, we're grounded through our anchor.
Yeah.
We're safe, we're secure, right?
Yeah.
You and Tyler had the talk.
Mm-hmm.
Help me understand what happened.
It actually, so now being a couple days out, went really well. I had a bruised ego for a couple days, so basically we decided that we weren't going to have children right now.
Mm-hmm. Let's back it up a little bit. You and Tyler had a talk about it's now the time for us to have kids.
Yeah, well, sort of.
Okay.
So I don't know if I'd mentioned it to you previously, but last year I came home and I basically was like, I'm ready to be a mom. He said, when you have 1 year left of school, we can talk about it. I said, that's next September. He said, okay, cool. And he had mentioned at that time how he would like to have a house before we have kids. So a year has passed. I've done what I need to do. I stayed in school. I'm still a year out. We never looked at houses, nothing. But 12:03, September 1st, I said, hey, it's September 1st. It's time to have that talk.
Okay. So last year, you're saying, I'm going to be in school for another year. Tyler says you're in school. We'll talk about having kids in 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler says I want a house. You say, great, you're going to do some house stuff, and we'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me Tyler and you have not done anything about looking for a house?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you haven't looked for a house.
No.
Have you saved for a house?
Yes.
You have. So have you made progress in your house savings?
Yeah.
Okay. Substantial?
Yeah. Oh, we've had money for a house for a long time.
Okay.
I think he's putting off the house buying because his sister just bought a house, and he knows like how much of a process that is.
Sure.
I think he's scared, which is fine. I try not to pressure for anything future-wise in our relationship because
Well,
I want it to be natural. Well, minus the kids, but we're gonna get into that.
Okay.
I want it to be natural. Like I never tell him that I want him to propose or that we need to buy a house.
Sure.
I'd let him know like when I wanted new housing that I'd look into apartments as a nice mediator. And every time he's like, you know, we're happy where we are, let's stay where we are, which is fine. and I deal with that. But the kids thing, so I have PCOS, which basically means I have cysts on my ovaries.
Sure.
Which is going to make it very hard to get pregnant, and you have to be trying, like tracking your cycle, all the jazz of it all, in order to go into things like IVF. So the whole point of the conversation, and I went into it knowing he probably was going to say he wasn't ready,
Okay.
was to kind of educate him on what that will mean for us if we wait.
Okay. So, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Remember our anchor.
Mm-hmm.
Let's finish our conversation
Okay.
there, and then we can expand into the PCOS stuff.
Okay.
Okay. So you're telling me you have this house money saved.
House
So
money
it's
saved.
looking like you've made some progress, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you talked about houses in the past year at all?
I brought it up a couple times, and he kind of just shuts it down.
Why
He
do you
doesn't
think
shut. He
does
doesn't shut it down, but he kind of just will be like, "Oh, not right now," or like, "I'm not ready." I don't know how much money he thinks we need. He has saved up, like, between you, me, and the wall, and the potential people who might ever see us someday. He has like 65 grand in the bank because his dad passed, so he inherited life insurance, and he inherited money from basically like the liquidation of all of his assets
Sure.
and things like that. So he has plenty of money. I do not have as much money, but I have about I had about 5 grand before this whole transition, and my money is not for like a down payment. My money is just as like a backup emergency fund.
Sure.
So we have the money.
Okay.
So, but he keeps saying things like, "I just want to make sure we have enough money." I'm like, "Do you want to buy the house in full cash or?"
Have you ever asked him that?
Yeah, jokingly. And he's like, "No, but I just think he's scared. He's watched like every relationship around him fail recently.
Sure.
And in the last few years since we've known each other, so I think that he's just worried, like, what if we buy this house and then Gabby decides she doesn't want to be in it anymore?
Sure.
I think that scares him. That's not the case, and I try to validate those feelings and let him know that that's not what's going to happen. But I see his fears, and I let him have them.
Okay, so as long as that hasn't become a bone of contention, as long as it sounds like you're very understanding about that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so your anxiety is not about, it doesn't sound like it's about Tyler's readiness to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
That you're good where you are, you're willing to wait a little longer.
Yeah.
And because realistically it can't hurt. If you save up another 5 grand between the two of you in the next however long, if you save up another 2 grand, it sounds like you're ready there.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds to me like Tyler's being pretty smart about it and wants to make sure you're all set because too, don't forget, you buy a home, unexpected expenses.
Mm-hmm.
If I can share a little bit with you about my own experience, when I bought my house, I had booked part of buying a house is getting an insurance binder, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I had gotten this insurance binder, and then 2 weeks after I closed on my home, I got a letter from my insurance company saying they had just come to do the inspection, and I needed a new roof, or they were going to cancel my homeowner's insurance. So finding new homeowner's insurance and replacing a roof, unexpected. So I get it.
Yeah.
Because you're taking a substantial amount
Which
out.
is why I try not to push it, because, you know, if you'd like to move into the next part of the story, this will all wrap itself in a nice neat little
I'm
bow
just
for
trying
ya.
to, let's pick up our anchors.
Yeah, we're
and
gonna
we'll
pick it
sail
up.
along. Okay.
We're
So
sailing on to the
now,
next point.
so now we're talking about you.
Yeah.
All right. So we have Tyler, whose rudder has been kind of steady in the I want to make sure we're ready, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Gabby, who at, as you said, 12:03
12:03
on September 1st has said, now I'm ready.
Yeah.
What is driving that, you're telling me, is the PCOS?
Yes. So the way that works medically, to give you a background, is after about like 30, unless you've been actively trying, they will not let you have all of those interventions like IVF and hormones and things like that. So basically, to keep it wrapped in a nice, neat little bow for you, is Tyler and I have never had the conversation about, is it that important to him to have biological children? Is he going to be hurt if we had adopted children? I mean, when I got diagnosed, we were together, and I let him know that, like, I may never be able to have kids, and if that's an issue, he needed to leave, and he said it wasn't. But that's as much as we've had of that conversation, and that we agree we want children. So I just wanted to be honest with him, like, what that journey could look like, because that could mean a lot of miscarriages, a lot of doctor's appointments, money and time, and
do you think he's willing to make that journey with you?
yes.
Okay.
I have I think it was hard for him to hear, but he didn't seem like that was an issue. And my main goal was that I'm okay with waiting, but I just don't ever want to hear him say, like, I thought we had more time, or I wish you had told me this sooner. So, like, I told him, I said, wait all you want. I said, I'll motherfucking anything. So I'll mother anything that you give me. I said, I just want to know that you have that same feeling about being a dad, because you might wait so long that I might never get pregnant, and then adoption is our only option.
So let's look at this from a slightly different perspective.
So put the anchor down?
We're putting the anchor down.
Okay.
I want to pull out just a piece of that. Gabby, how old are you now?
I'm 25.
So you're 25.
Mm-hmm.
So what it sounds like to me is that you are looking at a 5-year span
Mm-hmm.
where you feel productive.
Yeah, and he would have, I don't want to say he, but like I said, to me it doesn't matter, but that he would have the best possible
Does it matter
chance
to you?
to not have my own children, like biologically. No, not really.
Okay.
I mean, I think part of me might always be disappointed that I physically can't do it, but I would never be disappointed that I don't have my own. I'd be disappointed in the body, not the action.
So, do you feel perhaps in some way you're trying to achieve something, or you're trying to meet some kind of goal before time runs out?
Well, the goal that I was trying to meet was that if having a biological child is important to him, I want to make sure that we put as much possible time into it as we can, because I don't, like, it is a long process, and we only are going to get what years pretty much I have until I'm 30, and then after that it's really uncertain, and they might not even pay for treatment. So I just wanted him to know, like, it's cool if we wait, but that's going to limit the time that you have to have a child that's yours.
Okay.
And he understood that, and he said that that was fine with him.
So let's circle back.
Okay. Are we picking the anchor up?
We are.
Okay.
We're sailing along. We're going to circle back to port a little bit, and I'm going to bring you back to where we started, because I hear you telling me that I just want to check and make sure that if he wants biological children, then that's, like, this is our window.
Yeah.
I hear you actively telling me that.
Yeah.
But then, at the beginning of the session, I heard you say, I was butthurt when he said he wanted to wait. Help me understand how you got from one to the other.
That's because I have baby fever. So I am also used to, when it comes to him and I and our dynamic, whatever I want, I kind of get it. I just have to, like, ask him enough, and he's like, okay, fine, if it's what's going to make you happy, that makes me happy. But I went into this with the mindset that it doesn't matter what makes me happy, because it takes two to have a child.
Sure.
And I want to make sure that no matter where life takes us, he's always happy that we made the decision to have a child. So I was butthurt because I had to put my ego aside and say, like, if he tells me no, that's okay, because something else might be the best decision for us. And so, I mean, at the end of the day, our path is different, but the goal is the same. So a kid now or a kid when I'm 35, whether it be adoption or not, like, I might need to adopt anyways. I might not be fertile. So at the end of the day, now we're in 10 years, it doesn't make a difference. I just have baby fever and want now, but that's not a need now.
So baby fever because of the work that you're doing, and maybe there's a little bit of a clock ticking in your head,
and I'm at a point where when it comes to the house and marriage, those are all kind of goals that he has to take, because financially I can't afford. I mean, he told me he doesn't want me to propose to him. That's a whole different story, because I've asked. He said he wants to do that.
Sure.
But the house is something that he would have to take on. So those are two goals that he has to do himself. And this is the only thing that I can do. And I'm kind of at a point where I'm, like, ready for the next thing.
I see.
So that was my next thing. But again, willing to wait. It's not like I need it.
So to give you back what you just said to me, so that maybe you can hear it.
Yeah.
Having a baby, Tyler's taking on the house. Tyler's taking on all of these other things, right? Having a baby is the only thing you can do for the relationship. So are you afraid that if you miss this window, you're going to somehow feel useless in your relationship?
No, because I don't think my anxiety is coming from this conversation at all.
I'm just
But
trying to
no,
get a sense of the.
I don't. I definitely don't. I mean, I think that if I can never physically carry, those are feelings I might feel later on, and I've accepted that because when I got diagnosed, like, there are still times where I look at other people who get pregnant and I have never even tried, and I cry about how unfair it is. Because, like, is this weird? I don't know, because you're a guy, so you probably don't have this problem. But there's, like, this weird part of your brain that must just be nature that, like, it's like I'm mourning a loss of something I never had. And my whole life I've been told that I couldn't have kids, but it wasn't until I was fully diagnosed that I was like, holy shit, I didn't realize how much I wanted children.
Yeah.
So it's like this weird thing that even though I've never tried, and I could get pregnant first time and it might go great, it might be wonderful,
You won't
but
know until
I
that
won't
time
know
comes.
until I try. So you're in this like limbo state of, and I don't mind waiting. The waiting's not anxiety giving. This
Okay.
conversation's giving me anxiety. But
Do we need to take a minute and regroup?
no, I'm okay.
Okay. So here we are. Sounds to me like you've fully sort of accepted this
Mhm.
conversation. Yeah, you're a little butthurt. You had baby fever, but you and Tyler sound like you're still in a pretty good place.
Yeah.
Ship is still on course,
Mm-hmm.
and here you are. Sounds to me like Tyler might want just a little more time,
Mhm.
a little more experience,
Yeah.
a little more money.
Yep. And we ended in a compromise of, if I can't have children now, and he knows that that's something like I am ready for children whenever he's ready, that he needs to start moving forward with other future things. And I don't care when those things are, but preferably like at least start looking at rings before next September,
I see.
or start looking at houses before next September. And that was my only request, because I still want
So-
those things to not feel natural.
So, sort of, if we're not going to do this now, I still need to feel like we're working towards it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
So that you're not in the same place maybe a few years from now.
Yeah, because I want to
get
give him at least a year of
it.
trying.
I get it. I understand. Sounds like you got a good head on your shoulders. Good
Thank
for
you.
you. You approach that very adult. I know a lot of
Thank you.
young people get baby fever, and it causes a lot of discord in their relationship because that has to be handled now.
Yeah. Thank
Do you
you.
know what I mean? So
I'm
you're
really glad you said that, because I think the thing that's maybe giving me this anxiety, this conversation's going to play a lot into that.
Good. Well, all right. So I watched you just now, anxious up. So let's pick up
I'm picking up my anchor.
our anchor, and we're gonna sail full on.
It's getting heavier to
All right.
sail.
So let's approach it nice and slow. First, I want to do a couple of things with you.
Okay.
All right, just because I know that oftentimes your anxiety tends to make you disappear a little bit. You
Mhm.
kind of get lost out there, right, in the storm. So I want to do a couple of things. Let's get nice and comfortable. Feet on the floor. All right, hands nice and loose, body nice and relaxed. Shake it out a little bit. All right, so Gabby,
Mhm.
I want you to take a look around the room, and I want you to tell me 4 things that you can see.
Lamp, bowl, cup, sponge.
Lamp, bowl, cup, sponge. And now I want you to tell me 3 things you can hear.
The fan, feet, puppy feet.
Puppy feet, feet. And now I want you to tell me 2 things you can feel with your body. Not in your body, but with your body.
The rug, my ring on
The
my
rug
finger.
and your ring. Okay? And I want you to tell me 1 thing you can smell.
Nothing, but that's a good thing, so it means your house doesn't smell.
Okay, so what I want you to do is remember the things that you told me that you could see
Mm-hmm.
and hear and feel: your ring, the floor, and the nothing that you smell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because these are the things that are going to ground you.
Okay.
So when you're feeling anxious, because I can see you've probably got some anxiety residing in you now, I want you to remember what the ring feels like, and that you're fiddling with your ring here, and that you've got the carpet underneath your feet, and as you're feeling that, you're here.
Okay.
So you're not going to get swept up. You might get caught up in some emotion, but you're not in any dangerous situation. You're not in any panic mode. You're right here, and we can stop anytime. We can breathe. We can relax. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You also look like you need to tell me a story. So,
I just don't like emotions.
are we ready?
Yeah.
All right. So remember, we've got our host of fidgets.
Yeah,
right?
I think I
We've
need
got
one.
here. All right.
Because
We
I'm
also
fidgety.
have poker chips and some cards. right? You can
Yeah.
build, you can feel, you can do what you need to do.
I like this one. It makes
When-
my fingers feel tickly.
All right. So, and quite different. You hate the anxiety and how it makes your fingers tingle, but you like the tickly feeling in your
Yeah,
fingers.
because it's the same reason that like I choose to watch scary movies or put myself in dangerous situations because I'm in control of the anxiety.
Absolutely.
I'm allowing that feeling.
Guess what? You're always in control of the anxiety.
I wish I always felt in control.
Well, you've made so much progress. Do you remember you very back in the beginning when I met you?
Maybe.
Yeah,
I try to
well.
forget that version.
You've grown.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So here we are, sailing along. Help me understand. Take a deep breath. And I know that when you get anxious, you tend to go on, but as concisely as you can, tell me what you think I need to know.
So, next, what happened was, I had a conversation, great note. My best friend reached out to me,
Hey, what's your best friend's name?
Brittany.
Brittany.
She knew that I was going to have a conversation because my mom and my two best friends knew. So on, Sunday morning, everybody's like, hey, you have to talk yet? And I'm like, actually, I did.
Wait, you said you had two best friends.
Two best friends.
Brittany and
Kirsten.
Kirsten. Okay.
Kirsten was supportive, validating, encouraging. She was like, that sucks that you didn't get what you want because I know how well you handled that, but at least you're moving forward into future things. Great.
Fair enough.
Love that. Love that for me.
Fair enough. Okay.
My mom basically said the same thing.
Good Kirsten. Good mom.
Yep, good Kirsten, good mom. So I share this story with Brittany. She's now the last person I've told, and I said, I share it with her, and I ended it with, at this point, I really don't want to talk about it anymore because I'm kind of dealing with a bruised ego of being told no. And I did tell my mom and Kirsten the same thing. And Brittany's response to me was, she sent back, you could tell that she was anxious by her tone.
Sent back a
Snapchat reply. We
I
snap
see.
video each other.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. I know, it's so millennial with me. We snap video each other, and she sent back a reply where she basically was like, oh, that throws my whole reply out the window. And at first I just thought she was like, oh, now I don't know what to say. But you could tell she was anxious.
Wait, that throws my whole reply
Out the window. Because I had sent her what had happened and then asked her basically not to comment on it. Like I was just letting her know.
Oh, I see.
And-
She had something to say, but
Yeah, and
okay.
so she was like, that throws my whole reply out the window. Now I don't really know what to say. And I don't remember exactly the wording she used, but she basically implied that she did have something to say, but her tone to me inferred that it wouldn't have been kind. So I snapped her back a video very kindly.
Gonna stop right there.
Yes.
You used a very, very important word here, and we need to look around at that a little bit.
Okay.
You used the word implied.
Mhm.
So when you think something implies something, you, the
Are making-
receiver,
Yep.
are making an assumption that there's something in the message that the sender has.
Yes.
What about it gave you that idea that there was something negative?
It was her tone, and I can't remember the wording, but she used specific wording that basically, for, lack of the word, her feelings weren't kind about what I said. Like, she did not agree with the end, result of me and my boyfriend's conversation.
So she thought that somehow you should have gotten what you wanted simply because you wanted it?
So I don't know. So this is what we're going to get into.
All right.
So
So you're
I replied back to her that, I understand that she has things that she wanted to say, but, unless they were kind and encouraging, I wasn't ready to hear them.
good for you for standing up for yourself
Thank
and
you.
for setting your boundaries.
Thank you.
Very important.
Thank you. I didn't get to hear this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was very
You're making me cry. Thank you.
I was very much, to be honest with you, anticipating you giving me an answer that was rooted in anxiety and frustration and in some sort of negative back.
Well, and I
Because
can
that-
tell you
that
I was shaking when I said it.
But perfect example
Thank
of you. Remember we talked about the cognitive triangle
Yeah.
with thoughts and feelings and actions?
Yeah.
Good for you
Thank you.
for controlling your
Awesome.
actions and controlling your thoughts
Thank
and your
you.
feelings. Yeah.
So I basically told her unless it was kind, I wasn't ready to hear it.
Good
And I
for
said, if it isn't kind, I said, who knows, maybe I'll be ready in a couple days, couple weeks, couple months. I said, maybe I'll never be ready. I said, but that's kind of the point of opinions is we can keep them to ourselves unless they want to be
Absolutely.
heard.
Sure.
And she then texted me, very kind, very apologetic, said, I'm sorry I didn't mean to offend you, I should have been a friend to you, like, I should have been nothing but encouraging, and I was like, oh my god, no need to apologize, like, I was like, okay, we're good, she didn't have anything bad to say, she just, whatever, so I kind of glossed over it, but then she had snapped me again, and I basically told her, like, no need to apologize, don't worry about it, like, I'm just glad that him and I are on the same page.
So as in, whatever it misinterpreted?
Yeah, basically, I chalked it up at this time, I'm like,
Sure.
oh, I misinterpreted it.
Sure.
So then I open up a Snapchat from her after I send my reply saying, like, don't worry about it. And in her reply, she's clearly upset, and she says, I just feel slighted that your mom and Kirsten had got to be the best friend role with you and I didn't. And I'm like, okay, she's hurt, I get that. And then, because I let Kirsten and my mom say kind words to me, but I'm not letting her say rude words to me.
So, your decision to not take in negativity about a situation which you were fine with,
She felt slighted by.
she felt slighted by.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go back and have a little mini lesson about responsibility.
I know.
Who's responsible for the feelings
I am
that
not.
she had?
She's responsible.
And who's responsible for her words?
She is.
She is. And who's responsible for all the feelings behind those words?
She is.
She is. Who caused that?
She does.
She does, you're right, not you. So it's important for you to know that you are not responsible for that in any way, shape, or form.
I know.
But I suspect you knew that already.
A little bit, but I did need to hear it.
Okay.
So she, in this response of her telling me she feels slighted, she then says, I understand why you're not ready to hear it. Then she says, it's just that I have a lot of thoughts about what happened. And I've had a lot of thoughts for 2 years, and I've kept my mouth shut for 2 years. And I think at some point we need to have a conversation, and maybe Snapchat isn't the best way for it to happen, but at some point it needs to happen. And I understand that you're probably not going to want to talk to me for a little while after it happens. So now I'm like, okay, because she clearly didn't have something kind to say, and it clearly was about my boyfriend, so I chose to not respond.
Good.
She then texted me after, and mind you, I had already sent her like a...
But we're going to stop right there. I'm going to interrupt you. We're going to put our anchors down.
Okay, anchors down.
Okay, anchors down. So you have this friend who is saying to you, it's just that. And you know how people say things like, it's just that.
Mm-hmm.
Or I find it funny that.
I find it
Or, you know, but what I really, when they preface it with that, what usually follows is entirely emotional, entirely...
Which is why I decided it was best not to respond.
And I want to congratulate you again
Thank
on
you.
putting up your boundaries and remaining firm because you didn't change them.
Yeah.
So your boundaries stayed consistent about that.
Thank you.
Okay?
I needed to hear that too because I was like feeling like I made the wrong decision by not
No,
responding.
your boundaries were strong and firm because you, remember, were okay with the situation. You were okay with it.
Yeah.
Slightly butthurt, as you said, for not getting what you wanted, but you rationalized that as long as there's progress being made, you and Tyler had an adult conversation about a very important adult topic, and you're good.
Yeah.
And from my understanding, you were just sort of sharing information with your friends.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So you have this friend who is entirely emotional now,
Yeah.
who has all of these things to say, and you're not going to like it.
Yes.
So let's play the tape through very slowly.
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling at that moment?
I was very anxious, really scared because I don't want to hear what she has to say because sometimes people tell me ways that they think that things should be, especially when it comes to relationships, and relationships are very personal, and I think that what might work for you might not work for me, but is this a no? But
Stop
so
you right there.
okay.
Because every time this comes up, we're going to do this over and over again. You're going to take this, and you are going to write the word should on your paper.
Oh, okay, I don't have this word.
Should is a word that robs people of independence and robs
Yeah.
people of choice and holds them to impossible obligations. So
I'm gonna
when we
rip it
have
up.
ruined, we get rid of it.
No.
Okay, anyway.
So yeah, so basically the reason I didn't want to hear what she had to say was not only did it not sound kind, but she likes to give relationship advice unwarranted, And
about your relationship?
about all relationships.
Mm-hmm. Is she in a relationship?
Yes.
And how's that going for her?
Between you, me, and the wall in the video?
Sure.
Not great. I mean, I think she likes to think it's great, but again, this is why relationships are personal. When I look at her relationship, it's not something I'd be happy in.
Okay. Fair enough.
And so basically that's where I was coming from with not wanting to hear her words, because I know whatever she has to say, if I had to wager, she thinks that I let Tyler get away with things that he shouldn't, because she's kind of made comments about that in the past, and I don't agree with that. That's my relationship, and if it's not something that bothers me, then what does it matter?
Again, let's go back to the should. We destroyed the should. When people say should, it comes from their own form of opinion.
Exactly, and that's why I try not to let it. That's why I decided I didn't want her to tell me.
I'm glad that you changed that to decided to, because that's a lot more proactive than let it. Let it imply something's happening to you.
Yeah.
Decided not to implies you're in control. Good for you for
Thank
keeping
you.
your language strong.
Thank you.
Boundaries firm.
I just felt like if she had said what she had wanted to say, then I might have internalized those feelings and felt as though they needed to also be my feelings, even if I don't agree with them. Because
Right.
I know myself, and I've known myself to do it in
Sure.
the past. And so that's why I was like, I just don't think I want to hear what you have to say. But now,
So,
I'm torn. She's been my best friend since I was 8, and I'm obviously going to talk to her again someday. But now she thinks this is a conversation we have to have.
so what would happen if you told her it was a conversation you didn't need to have, because you handled this conversation and you and Tyler are fine, and that's what's important?
I don't think that it would stop her from saying it, and I think no matter what she says, and no matter how confident I am in my relationship, I'm going to let it hurt me. If we're being honest.
Well, we are being honest, and I'm just wondering if we're making room on the couch for the anxiety that just joined us.
Yeah.
You're,
Plenty of room.
so you're, as I look on our path here, looks to me like you're looking down 2 different hallways, huh? You're looking out of one of protection and decision, empowerment, right? Strength, and the other hallway titled obligation.
Yeah, because that's how I feel right now, because at the end of the day, like I told my best friend Kristen, who is always encouraging and validating, I said it's my relationship and what I choose to do with it, and I said, and the only difference between my relationship with Tyler and her relationship with her husband is that they have a legal document that binds them together.
Mm-hmm.
I said, we are no different. I said, so she wouldn't want somebody insulting her husband, and that's basically what Tyler is to me. So
Sure.
now I feel like once they're your husband, they're your family, but I already think Tyler's my family, and now you're insulting my family.
The best piece about families is that you, if you're not happy with the ones with you're given, and even if you are, you get to choose your members, you know?
But what do you do when they're both your family, you know? Because she's one of my best friends since I was 8.
You have a brother, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so help me understand a time when, tell me your brother's name again? Evan. So help me understand a time when you and Evan had a pretty serious conflict.
The time that he lied and I physically beat him up, so that way, I don't know, it didn't benefit us.
No, okay, so you and Evan then have had some pretty serious knockdown dragouts, right? And you've told me that since his TBI, that he's had some personality changes,
Yeah.
and that it's caused some conflict, right?
Yeah.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but there had to have been moments when you guys were butting heads.
Yeah.
Moments where you were like, if I have to look at this dude again, seriously, I'm gonna kill him. Or
Yeah.
I don't, like, I'm never gonna talk to you again.
If he didn't have a TBI, I would punch him in the head.
Right.
I'd throat punch him.
Throat punch him in the head.
Yep.
That's a new one, I'm gonna write it down. What happened? How did you resolve those?
We don't, to be honest.
So what happens?
We just move on. And, you know, we don't always have to act like it happened because we're siblings and we love each other. No matter if I punch him in the head tomorrow, he's still gonna wake up and be like, "Hey guys, you want an omelet?" Like, so I think with Tyler, that is what would happen if him and I fought over Brittany.
I'm not talking about Tyler, friend. I'm talking about Brittany.
I feel like that's what I mean. Like, I don't think that Brittany can, if I share with her, I don't think that she's going to just wake up and forgive me.
But whoa.
I guess that's not a real friend, right? Is that what
Wait. You don't think she's going to wake up and forgive you? What did you do wrong, and why are you trying to take responsibility for this whole thing?
I don't know, because that's me as a person.
But we both know that that's not true.
I know. I shouldn't.
No. Remember, I'm not going to.
Responsibility.
I'm not going to.
It's just, I don't know. It's really, I feel like, because I don't want to lose her as a friend, but I can't tell you the amount of times in our lifetime I've drawn lines with her and boundaries and been like, this is not appropriate for me and this isn't right for me. And she just cuts me off until pretty much like a life-changing event happens and she decides that she needs me again.
Empowerment. Obligation. Walking down the hallway of empowerment. Well, for you, it's a new feeling.
Yeah.
We both know that. But it often comes with its own set of challenges. It's hard to be brave when, for the longest time, you felt inept or incapable. It's hard to be strong when inside, a lot of times, you feel not so strong. It's hard to break free from something that you've known your whole life. And what you're telling me is two things. Number one, I have known this girl since we've been little, 8 years old. And number two, I need something different. But this is not black and white, you see. We're going to put this aside because I think this is more, but this is not black and white.
That's the problem.
But if we look closer at this, you have choice in this. This is not one or the other. Get rid of her or don't. Be her friend or don't. It's not that. There's compromise in here somewhere. Okay? So you can look at things like that. You have very clearly said, no, stop, don't. And you said in the past that she's overcome your boundaries, but I need to ask you, what's different this time?
Like, what do you mean?
So, in the past you've said no, stop, don't, and she's walked through your boundaries. What's different this time? Why does it matter to you this time that she doesn't cross your boundaries?
Because it affects Tyler, and Tyler's my family now too.
So, what would happen if you said that to her?
I still think she's awesome. Like,
well,
I think then that changes my reaction. In the past, it's been, here's our boundary, and you're disrespecting that, and she crosses it, and it's only ever affected me, and the things that she's done have only ever hurt me. And now, when she hurts me, even though she's not hurting Tyler, and Tyler could care less, it hurts me because, in a weird way, she's targeting him. He's never done anything wrong to her.
So, put the piece of paper in the mouth. Because, you said she's got a lot to say. This is Brittany.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell Brittany what you just told me?
I can't.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. What's stopping you?
You're like asking me to choose between my mom and my brother.
I'm not asking you to choose
No,
anything.
but that's how it feels, I have the same conflict, if it's any consolation, between my mom and my brother.
But Gabby,
if he's saying something insulting about mom, I have the same internal conflict to tell him that he's crossing a boundary.
So
I have this. I don't like to hurt people.
But are you hurting somebody, or are you putting yourself and your boundaries first?
I think that by putting my boundaries first, I feel, I'm not saying it's right, but I feel like I'm offending other people.
But they're your boundaries.
And I know they're offending me by crossing my boundaries, but I just worry when I offend people that they'll leave.
It's a tough feeling.
So I can't say it. I want to, I really want to. You know, like when you're gonna have a conversation with someone
What if
and you've been thinking about it all day and the words don't come out? That's where
what if I took this out
Yeah.
and made it a little less personal, and you simply practiced on this guy just to get
I'd tell her, I'd say, you stress me the fuck out and I want to punch you in your fucking face. Because
keep it coming.
nobody, who does that? It's not your fucking relationship, man. You know what
Here's what I think you should do.
You know what I really want to do, but I'm not, John, because I've learned and I'm growing. I so badly want to be like, tell me how you feel, so she can tell me, and I can get real fucking angry, and then I can be like, let me rip you apart now, because ripping Tyler apart in my relationship, you're ripping me apart because we worked really hard to be here. So I want to rip her apart, not her husband, her, and I want to make her cry, and I want to make it hurt, and I will destroy her internally, and so she has to go to therapy herself, but that's wrong. I'm manipulative, and I've done a lot of personal growing since I was that person.
Good for you.
So I'm not going to say those things. I'm going to say, don't fucking talk to me right now.
So what I'm hearing out of all of this, underneath all the I want to rip her throat out and make her feel bad and go to therapy, is that you need to communicate something to her.
Yeah.
You need to find a way to talk to her.
Yeah. Thankfully, I have therapy again on Friday.
You do. So I think your homework, before I see you again, should be ways for you to communicate to this person, ways to get that out.
Okay.
So it's important for you to do this in a way that gets it out, so that you can get this feeling out of you, this rage out of you, this sadness out of you, all of it. But the best part is she doesn't have to know. So there are multiple ways that you can process this externally. You can set up your phone on record and make a video as if you were talking to her, and say everything you wanted to say, be as mean and nasty and as bitter and whatever as you want to get. And then if you want to watch the video for feedback on how you feel, do it. If you don't, delete it. You can write a letter. You can